Apa kabar semuanya? Welcome back to the step-by-step tutorial of lesson 6, basic Python for data analytics. So as what you know, we have explained a little bit about the Gita's funky making paper printing business. Okay, and now what we want to do, right, is that we want to come up with the Excel sheet for it. Okay, so we want to try to optimize it. So I already have a little bit of the template here. And what I would like to do is that I would like to create quantities, and these are the table of constraints. So this is a paper constraint. Okay, paper constraint has to be less equals to 120, and then this is the ink constraint. So all of these things, right? And then now I would like to create the quantity. So what is the quantity of this? So I can do 2 or 3, and total will be 2 plus 3. Okay, but we need to try and formulate it first. Okay, so I put total as sum of these two numbers. Okay, so I got 0 here, but if I put 1 here, if I put 2 here, then 3. So 1 plus 2 equals to 3. So this is very good. Okay, and second is that I would like to have the total red, total yellow, total blue. I want to have all the inks that I combine together is less equals to the ink constraint. So I don't want to exceed the 480, but I want to make it less than that so that I can produce it. It's feasible for me to do that. Okay, so again, sum like this, and then and again, let's try it out. So we put 1 here, it works. We put 2 here, it still works. Okay, right. And finally, by the end of the day, we want to maximize the total profit. And the contribution is basically unit price times the quantity. So if I times on this, it will become 0. But if I put here 5, it will become 100. So if I produce 5 of this and 1, I will get the profit of 100. Okay? And of course, the same thing is happening for it. So I just drag it like this. And you see C4 times C15. So again, I got 2 here. Okay? If I got 2, then 25, then 50. Right? And total profit is just the sum of my contributions. So I got 150 if I produce 5 and 2. Okay, but how many reds and how many yellows do I use? Again, it depends on the designs, right? So I equals to design and times red unit use. However, if I drag down here, it becomes 0, even though I want 5 times 3, which is 15. Why? It's because if you see the formula here, it's B4 times B7, but if you see the formula, then it's B5 times B8. So B5 is nothing here. So I need to pack the big 4 so that even if I drag and drop them, it stays as it is. So the way how you can do that is by assigning to a $sign. So like this. So $sign means like fixing the variable, so meaning that $B is I'm fixing the B, and $4 means I'm fixing the 4. 4 is row and B is column. So if I drag down on this, then you see that now it is clear. So it's still B4 and B8, which is this one. So this is what I want. And we need to do the same thing with the design 2. So I can drop it, and then if you see it's 15, but it's still B4. So I just change it to B5 with $sign. B4 with $sign. C4 with $sign because it's different columns, and then we can drag it down again. Right? So that's how it works, and you see the total keeps updating. So the point is that, right, what is the quantity of the decisions that I need to solve so that I don't break the constraints, but at the same time, I reach the total profit. So in order to do that, it's very simple, just data and solver. But if you do not have this, so data and solver, and if you do not have these two on your Excel sheet, then it's fine, because you can add it on very easily just by clicking on File. Okay, then you will have this window. And after that, you can choose the options. And when you have the options, then there is an add ins. So click on the add ins and you see the analysis toolpath here. So double click on it, or maybe just click OK. Oops. Okay, sorry. So again, options, add ins, and then it is a toolpath. And then what you want to do, how is click on go? Alright, click on go. So if I click cancel, okay, let me try and repeat it again, okay? Sorry for that. So file, options, and then add ins, and then it says toolpath, and then there's a manage here, click on go. And make sure this solver add-ins is think, okay? So click on OK, and by the end of the day, if you check on the data, you should have your solver here. But if you don't, please put it on the comments in the YouTube descriptions, and maybe we can discuss more. But again, alternatively, just Google it. There is definitely a lot of cases where people do not see the solver, so you can just follow the instructions of these people that already solved the problems, okay? Alright, so how you are going to use the solve? Well, if you see here, you see there is the objective, variable cells, and constraints. So why is this? Well, very simple put, we have learned this before. So that is basically our decision variables, objective functions, and constraints. So very simply put, if you have done the models, then you have done 90% of the files. The rest 10% is just inputting the right inputs data into the right cells in the solver. Okay, so that is the cool thing about Simplex LP. It's simple. Okay, alright, so moving on to the Excel sheet. So I close this first, we open the Excel sheet, so we do the solver. Alright, so what is the objective? The objective is that we want to maximize total profit. So just click on this set objective and click on the B17. Okay, so make sure it's B17 here. And then we want to maximize it, and we want to change the variable cells. So what is the variable cells? Well, very simple put, variable cells is these two, design 1 and design 2 quantity. Alright, then of course we have some constraints. So let me delete this first. Okay, so what do I want to add? Total has to be less equals than total constraint. So if you see here, there are a lot of it, including integer, which we are going to leverage on when we do the integer programming. Okay, so we can click OK, and there you go. But the best thing about it, you can actually call a range of cells. So D10, 11, and 12 is less equals to F10, 11, 12. So this doesn't mean that I compare 21 to 480, 300, 300. Doesn't mean like that. But it compares the first element to the first element, second element to the second element, and so on. So 21 is compared to 480, 19 is compared to 300, 6 compared to 300. So that is what's happening. So you click on OK, and make sure that this Simplex LP here is just the way how it works. GRG non-linear and Simplex LP is a bit different. I think GRG linear is non-linear is actually done it by doing it iteratively, gradient descent, but it's a bit of advanced topic, so I don't bother going to explain about it. You can always Google it online, okay? Then you can make your constraint variables non-negative and just solve it. And there you go. Alright? So if you see it, I already find a solution. So my maximum profit is 2,900, and I should produce 20 design 1, 100 design 2. So it is very cool that you managed to receive all of this. Next thing you should do is to go to your boss and say, hey boss, we need to produce these numbers of quantities and units and get it done right away. Okay? And if you see here, there's these reports coming out. So you can now click on the sensitivity, okay? Make sure that it's highlighted here, and then click on OK. So if you see here at the bottom, you will find the sensitivity report. And there you go. So these are another things that you can showcase to your boss, which we are going to talk about in the next lesson. With that, so just a bit of recap, you have found your product decision, making, and you have found your total profit by the end of the day, which is the maximum total profit. That I would like to put an end to this recording. Thank you so much for your help, and see you again in the next lesson. Bye bye.